All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you already saw the Harley Quinn gameplay, the boss fight, and if you didn't see it, don't worry, I'll not spoil it for you in terms of the visuals. But there is something that we have to make sure that we take a look at, so roll the film. IGN, the video comment section has been quite lit up with a lot of different opinions surrounding the game. But what I've noticed in looking at this, content and comment forum is there are more people who are actually happy about this gameplay than not. In fact, the top comment right now says, "This is what the game needed. Actual gameplay that looked challenging and interesting. Love the cancel animation, the immediate attack animation after he dodges. Hope they keep on improving this game until release. The graphics and mechanics overall definitely look better here. It could be the gameplay capture for the video, but it did seem like the mouth movement syncing to the voice might be a little off. That said, it definitely is no mobile game like some were saying it looked like. Also a plus, as a big Harley Quinn fan, I'm actually intrigued." Okay, finally, somebody playing a game who can not only play, he can play. Guy is a savage. It's nice to see Harley actually being a villain again. I'm so glad for this IGN first month because I've been dying to see more from this game. I'm actually really excited to see this new take on Harley. That isn't infantilized, mind you. I'll always loved her strong as Harley, but this one has so much potential. Let's go and even see the top comments, or the newest comments, sorry. I guess the top comments is kind of maybe randomly selected, but let's see the newest comments. Finally, someone who can play a character. Is that Carrie Walgren voicing Harley? I don't know. I don't know this language. Somebody help me with this. Espero, Portuguese or Spanish? I don't know. That boss battle needs changes. Plus, if they want to make Harley young again, I don't know, because of Poison Ivy. Harley looks so cool, although I'm so used to tired of voicing her at this point. I'm going to pretend this is a sequel to Arkham Knight. Okay. Wait, the only character that has multiple uniform is the one you could play with, and Harley does has more than one costume. Does that mean? I guess you're asking a question. Okay, finally, someone playing a game who can not only play, okay, this is the same one that we've read. So I guess you kind of get the point across the board. There are many people who are, in a sense, somewhat interested and excited about what it is that they've been seeing so far. The question now is, where does other parts of the community, or where do the other parts of the community stand overall? Is everyone sharing this same sentiment? And I guess in this video, I'm probably going to give you my own opinion, but I think it's fair that we kind of look at the overwhelming response so far. It seems to me, and I've read most of these comments, by the way, before I started reading them for this video, that a lot of people are actually for this. It's a very huge indicator. Now, here is my stance. Those of you who follow this channel, who've been here since day one, you know that for me, in the superhero genre, my combat preference is the Arkham free flow combat preference. But this game is not an Arkham game. This game is not in the Arkham universe. So there are a lot of considerations that I've been willing to give. Not everyone has been willing to give these considerations, by the way. I get flack all the time, but I'm willing to do so because it's my prerogative, as well as others' prerogative, to or not to give this kind of a concession when it comes to the combat. Another thing too that you have to also pay attention to is this combat plays like many other games that you're going to deal with out there, like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, or maybe something along the lines of a toned down version of God of War without too much of the flash and pizzazz, if you get what I mean, where you have specific attacks, you have your dodges of different kinds, you have enemy indicators that they're about to hit you, and then pretty much that's the basis of a combat. And so I think that based on that, the game has something going for it. It would be the next step for me to actually get to test this out by myself to see how it actually works. Because when you saw Nightwing in that combat sequence actually dealing some serious damage to Harley, it was interesting to see how this person was interacting with all of the different elements. They had more enemy NPCs in that arena. It was a smaller space, also something much smaller than this rooftop that we're seeing here from the Nightwing Red Hood gameplay in May. And you could tell that this person was paying attention to all of the different indicators, prompts, and all of the above that the enemies were actually indicating of maybe wanting to hit them. And they got to use their skills, their moves, and all of the above in a really interesting way that worked for me. And so for what Gotham Knights is trying to bring, I think that they've actually delivered something that's decent. Again, this is to keep in mind that, like I've said, and I've argued many times, that the free flow actually does help to alleviate a lot of questions surrounding superhero games. Free flow combat is actually a solution more than a combat mechanic, because when you ask all kinds of fun questions in terms of a combat, free flow is like the cheat sheet. Is there a counter button in free flow? Yes. Is there a dodge button? Yes. Is there a combo counter? Yes. Is there different scenarios and different enemy types that I can interact with in real time? Yes. But again, this is not a game that they wanted to use the free flow combat for. In fact, I was eating lunch and I, kind of was talking to my wife and I said, what if Warner Brothers Games kind of like said, hey, can we use free flow combat? And they were like, well, no, it's not an Arkham game, so you can't use free flow. What if they were denied the request to use free flow? I mean, I'm not saying that that's what happened. Or what if they decided not to use free flow? At the end of the day, we have to respect the decision either way. If Rocksteady had said or recommended, well, this is not an Arkham game. When you made Arkham Origins, that was an Arkham game, so it made sense. Why not try out another combat system since this is an entirely new game? That would have probably been the case. So yes, I'm giving them commendations for their combat mechanic, even though deep down inside I have a bias for free flow, but I have to commend what is available right here. And please, I know it's not an Arkham game. You don't have to tell me. I've played the Arkham games enough for me to know what is and what isn't an Arkham game. But I also engage in a lot of different, games and their combat to be able to tell you that in many cases, some combat systems just work the way they are. I mean, not everything has to be free flow for you to enjoy it. I've played other combat games that gave me very huge amounts of satisfaction in not being free flow, like Elden Ring, which allows for methodical combat, very good pacing, and all of the above. God of War games that are very demanding in a sense for you to be able to deal with multiple enemy NPCs that are hidden from the camera. Jedi Fallen Order that has all kinds of interesting mechanics, but only those who are very, very interested in mastering the combat get to discover them. And I'm sure that Gotham Knights is going to also have its own little surprises, its own little tidbits for all of us here in the community who are willing to play it. So this is where I am right now. And I really want to say that these developers have really, really outdone themselves in the amount of content that they've shown, in the way they've actually presented and represented a lot of the characters. But that's a whole different conversation, because I saw a concern one time. Somebody was saying, I just feel like these characters have not necessarily been shown to be true to themselves. And that's not necessarily the case. What it means, or what they are trying to say, is I feel like these characters have not been shown to represent the preferred version of the character that I actually do like. That's all that is, because you can run all over the place and you can see these representations of the characters. In fact, somebody was saying that Harley looks so much more like a representation of Paul Dini's own encapsulation of Harley Quinn, which is a huge compliment, by the way. I mean, are you kidding me? Paul Dini is like the boss. If you guys don't know who he is, he's the one that helped in the writing of some of the Arkham games. And then by Arkham Knight, they decided not to go with him, and look how the story of Arkham Knight turned out. And most of you know the truth. I mean, Arkham Knight is solid on mechanics, but in story, it's the worst part of it. And so I wanted to go ahead and just showcase this sentiment and also contrast it with mine, because I can get behind every single concern, every single aspect of it. For those who say they love it, I say yes, great. It's a whole different iteration of what this combat is about, different from what the Arkham games are. And for those who say, well, it's not like Arkham and doesn't flow well, I feel you as well. But we have to still give concession that this is its own game, and I have to judge it on its own merits. So talk to me in the comment section, and I would be very happy to speak with you guys in another video. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.